What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Waiver Wire Watch Party for Week 13. I am Stacy Perez, your host, and no, I'm just kidding. I am so far the opposite from Stacy Perez, obviously. I'm Jorge Edwards, and welcome this week. We got kind of a hodgepodge of Fantasy and Frames family members, so we're very excited to welcome everybody to the show this week, as well as you all watching tonight. Let's go around the frames. Sharlene, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. We're hanging in there.
All right. How was your week 13, or excuse me, week 12? From a fantasy perspective for a lot of your leagues. Okay, that's not a good start.
When you're in 18 leagues,
it's hard to bat 1,000. I got you.
You have Gibbs in some, you go up against Gibbs and others. What are you gonna do?
No, I hear you. Colby, man, what's going on with you? How are you doing?
Living the dream. I had a relaxing Sunday. I didn't have to sweat a game out because my team played on Thursday night with a win, a dominant defensive showing yet again with meh offensive performances. But all in all, can't complain.
Nice. And joining us this week, Kyle, you're making your second appearance on the Waiver Wire show. How you doing, man?
Good. Yeah. Second appearance, doing good. Had a conversation with my wife because, the holidays are coming up and, she's a planner and I am not. And she goes, yeah, we're hosting Thanksgiving. I was like, oh, we are. She goes, yeah, is that a problem? You get to watch all of football. You don't have to miss anything on a drive. I'm like, yeah, but now I have to talk to everyone.
Right. Oh my God. That's I hear you, man. There are times where I'm just like, let me just rest, digest, watch football and just.
They'll ask you fantasy lineup questions. Who should I start here?
Yeah. This is yeah. Well, speaking of your voice here, Aiden, the author of our Waiver Wire article here at Fantasy and Frames for the rest of the season. How you doing tonight, man? Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'm the opposite of Colby. I did not have to watch the Bills on Sunday because they did lose to the Texans. But yeah, the Waiver Wire article will be out when the time you wake up tomorrow morning on fantasyframes.com. You can check that out. Actually, we'll be talking about some of the names tonight. But I'm in about 20 leagues, and I'm pretty happy because it looks like I'm gonna make the playoffs in most, if not all of them. So
that's awesome. That is awesome to hear. Touching back a little bit, Kyle, what you were talking about for the holidays. So before we went on air, my wife just texted me and she said the HOA on our Facebook group, which, yes, that does exist, which I'm very careful about what I post on there just so I don't get in trouble. They said, yeah, better put up your holiday decorations, on Wednesday because over the weekend it's supposed to be like, in the 30s. And not that I mind the cold, but then I thought about doing it on Wednesday anyhow. And last week I was bored and I was on Amazon. Two awesome combinations to have, right? And I went ahead and I bought this horizontal 10-foot inflatable train that has Santa as a conductor, then Rudolph, and then Frosty. And I thought to myself, there you go, that's good. I have tons of inflatables already. I don't need to buy a ton more. And I thought to myself, well, I'm bored on my Amazon. Let me just get one more. I swear it was supposed to be only 14 feet, but I'm pretty sure it's closer to 20, 25 feet tall, Santa. And I immediately emailed and called the HOA, and I was just like, hey, are there any restrictions for decorations? And they're like, nope. So now that I know I have to put this up Wednesday, I'm excited from scaring the crap out of everybody in our neighborhood when they come home on Wednesday evening and they see a 25-foot tall Santa Claus in front of our house. That is
what is that doing there?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, well, it's within the rules. It's within the rules. So excited for the holidays and then some. Pay attention the next couple days. Fantasy and Frames has something special planned for the Thanksgiving holiday. So pay attention to that. And with that, we're a few minutes away from Monday Night Football kicking off here. Colby, Panthers, 49ers, the Christian McCaffrey Bowl. It's crazy. All the people who have those jerseys where it's half his old team, half his new team. I mean, little bittersweet, for those people out there, although Charlene's, not one of those because she's got her CMC jersey on right now. So
yep.
She's like, screw you, Carolina. You got rid of him. That's your problem.
As a Stanford fan, I was actually sad that he even went to Carolina in the first place.
See, there you go. That you're a twofer there. You should have the Stanford jersey and the 49ers jersey.
Well, it would be the same colors.
I guess that's a fair point. Fair enough. We got Moggs in the chat. What's going on, Moggs? Welcome back. Always a good supporter here at Fantasy and Frames. If you have any waiver wire questions, well, we have questions for you actually, since you're in here right now. Moggs, did you clinch any playoff spots after this week, and are you in full panic mode for any of your leagues? And if so, let us know in the chat. Tell us your story. We'll be happy to talk about it on air. But going back to you, Colby, anything that you're super excited about seeing in this game tonight from Carolina's side or for San Francisco's side?
I think the one I want to see is San Fran has been vulnerable in slot coverage for the better part of this season, especially of late as well. And we're starting to see Dave Canales finally get Ted McMillan in the slot a little bit more. Did very well last week out of the slot. So I'm really hoping to see at least 25 to 30% of McMillan's routes from the slot, because if so, it's going to be a good matchup and he's set for another big game.
Nice. Moggs mentions in the chat, most of my leagues are close. Okay. Well, you know what? You came to the right place. I hear we do a lot of things here at Fantasy and Frames, article work, rankings, shows. So we definitely have you covered. As you know that. I don't have to sell you on that. You know, Moggs, you know. Well, folks, let's get to our little Sunday fantasy fallout section here. We're going to be talking about some studs and duds that were very apparent to us after yesterday. And let me get us started here. So my studs and duds: Manuel Wilson finished in half PPR as the RB2, 25.5 fantasy points, 28 carries for 107 and 2 touchdowns. Like, awesome. As awesome as you can get if your name's not Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, literally, which, by the way, holy crap, I'm glad I have shares of Jahmyr Gibbs because, well, he put up close to 50 points. So I'm pretty happy about that. I also have somebody on a lot of my rosters who put up zero. Like nothing. Zero. Nothing. Like, I'm surprised he like even took the field for how much production he had, which was zero, by the way. Talking about Jordan Addison. Man, I saw this meme, or I saw this quote tweet, and I'm sure a lot of you in the audience know, or a lot of the people here know, that like JJ McCarthy has an alter ego that he likes to call 9. Are you all familiar with this?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So apparently he has like 9 interceptions or so, or no, he's been averaging 9 fantasy points ever since he released the name of his alter ego, which is like such a coincidence, but like so stupid. Like, who has an alter ego? Who is a rookie who hasn't played a year who has an alter ego? People are crucifying Shedeur Sanders for like saying, "Hey, that was a fun game yesterday," and this guy is like, "I have an alter ego called 9, and you're only averaging 9 fantasy points." Like, that is ridiculous. That is, but no, not as ridiculous as 0 fantasy points for Jordan Addison. So, boo. Sharlene, let's start with you. Who is your stud and dud for the week?
Well, you already mentioned him, Jahmyr Gibbs.
He's a good one.
He's about as good as you could have gotten this week. So
Yeah.
I was in fact very happy to at least have him on a few of my teams. I did go up against Gibbs in a league where it's 2 PPR and you get 8 points per touchdown.
Oh my god.
wow.
He got 95 points.
Wow.
That's more than the Scott Fish Bowl scoring too, because I have him in
Yeah.
Scott Fish and he was like 86 points. That's incredible.
So that was wild. I don't know that I've actually seen that happen in this league before. I mean, we've seen some crazy scores like that, but I think that might have been the highest one I've seen so far. That was crazy.
Okay, so before we get to your dud, Kyle, I don't want to hear anything about Jahmyr Gibbs or your Scott Fish Bowl success, because a lot of us from Fantasy and Frames are still in the playoffs, and we have 0 chance of catching you because you're like average, and the score is like in the 300s, and you take your average multiplied by, or added by your, we got it.
The exact number.
Yeah. So for those who don't understand, you have to have a certain point number to make it each week and then to advance in the playoffs. And so you take the points that you scored that week and you add that to the points that you've been averaging. And then if you are above the threshold, you advance from week to week. And this guy is like right now heading into Monday Night Football 5th in the rankings for Scott Fish Bowl. So first of all, I joke slightly that we hope you bring it home for the team in Scott Fish Bowl, but I'm also not joking. that I want to win also. So I'm hoping for like an epic collapse, but not an epic collapse. I'm being honest here. What can I say?
Fair enough.
Either way.
I'm
Either
just
way.
I'm just messing with you. But Sharlene, going back to your dud, who's your dud for the week?
So I put on the show sheet that my dud for the week was Lamar because this is starting to become a habit that I'm really not enjoying. I almost put Alec Pierce on here.
Yeah.
Because I think at this point that was probably more of a surprise than Lamar putting up a dud, which I can't even believe I'm saying that. But here we are.
Yeah.
Moggs in the chat is saying that his stud was JSN. I will censor that you have in there, but yes, that he's pretty good. Colby, who is your stud and duds for the week?
Stud is or what should I say was George Pickens leading in Monday Night Football, wide receiver 4 on the week, and the guy's just great. I think I saw a post on X today that my numbers might be a little off here, but he only has like 30 fewer receiving yards than all the Steelers wide receivers combined.
Yeah.
If I have that correct, it was something like that. So he's been great and he's going to get paid. That's all I'm going to say. But wide receiver 4 last week, and I believe in fantasy points per game, he's also a top 5 wide receiver on the year as well. So George Pickens is my stud. And then, sorry, Aiden here, it's going to be Josh Allen's my dud for the week.
Yeah.
No, I'll do it too.
He cannot play in Houston. That's it. That's hashtag analysis. He sucked there every single time, dating back to last year, the playoff game in 19. This season, sacked, I don't know, like 38 times is what it felt like. So Josh Allen's my dud. QB 20 on the week. Shadur Sanders, Geno Smith, all those guys scored more fantasy points than him, including Davis.
Okay, we can stop. We can end that.
Just salt on the wound. Just like literally, like the wound was stapled. It was recovering, and you're just like, oh, pour more salt into it.
Yeah, that's
to be fair,
yeah.
Jorge knew that Houston and Buffalo play on Thursday night, and he invited you on to this show, Aiden, to be fair. So this is not a me thing. You're unfortunately the victim of the circumstances created by Jorge here.
Jorge's fault is what I'm hearing.
Me think that far ahead? No, what was I? Not impossible. Brandon, we see you in the chat. Welcome as always. Kyle, who is your stud and who is your dud for week 12?
It's actually another Scott Fishbowl player of mine, Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Oh my show off. You're such a show off. Good Lord.
8 catches, 167 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, best game of the season he's had so far. But actually, it's not the best of his career. I mean, last year, you guys know, week 9 against the Rams, he had 8 catches for 180 yards and 2 scores. So just slightly below that. But he is the clear wide receiver 1 in all of fantasy, no matter the scoring format. This dude's just been a beast all season. And he's actually, did you know he's already the all-time Seahawks leading receiver in receiving yards? Yeah,
I saw that.
With 6 games still left to go. It's sick. And with over 1,300 yards now, everyone said, Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson's going to be the first one to crack 2,000 yards. I guess I should ask you guys, is it possible that JSN could be the first to do it? I mean, he's on pace. He's got 119 yards receiving on average, so maybe he can do it, right?
He's in the conversation. Is that the nice way of putting it? Is that the safe answer? Like,
yeah, it's tight.
Yeah.
It's going to be tight.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it did happen, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest with you. It wouldn't be like totally shocking. Got Philip in the chat with the super chat donation. Thank you very much, Philip. You are always so generous. We appreciate you here at Fantasy and Frames for that. Let's throw up Brandon's comment. Can someone explain how the Titans were only 1 score behind the Chargers, Seahawks, and Texans in their losses? Will the Titans steal a game from the Jags? Can someone explain? I can't explain. I don't get
Kyle,
it.
you take it.
I can't even explain it. I mean, we don't have a quarterback right now. That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, I like Cam Ward, but he's just not. He's not ready yet. Will we steal a game from the Jags? I think that game will be closer than what many people think. You know, these division games are always tight, so I give it a chance. I do give it a chance that we do upset Jacksonville.
All right. Let's see here. We got Moggs in the chat. Before we get to your dud there, Kyle. Swift, DeAndre Swift. I totally forgot what he scored yesterday. I'm assuming it was a dud.
Like 2 points.
Yep, that'd
It
be a
was
dud.
pretty bad. Pretty bad.
That would be a dud right there. Boom,
But none guy
shakalaka.
got the touchdown.
That's right,
But-
he did.
But not as bad as my dud. It was Jamison Williams who scored a donut.
Oh,
Like Jordan
Yeah.
Addison, and man, I had a prop bet on him too. It was only 59.5 yards, guys. And I was like, oh, he's going to totally smash this. I bought into the whole Dan Campbell calling plays, the motion, the play action uptick, all of that. They got a good run game. I thought it would boost Jamison Williams a little bit. But no, absolutely not. He didn't.
This
even
this
show
is
up.
what happens every season. Is the second that you put any faith into JMO and you said, okay, here we are.
Yep.
does.
Yep. And he
So-
just totally brought me back down to earth.
So on the Sunday morning pregame show, which you can catch obviously every Sunday from 9 a.m. to noon Eastern, Dave Ibrahim and Nate Markham, they've been going back and forth as far as like the value of Jamison Williams for the past couple of years. And like Dave made a comment heading into week one's show, like Jamison Williams' floor is literally 0. And we went back and like looked at it at half PPR scoring, and his floor was not actually 0. It was like 0.5. So Nate has always been like,
Big difference.
see, it's not 0. It's 0.5. Well, Nate, now you done did it. It took 12 weeks for us to get here, but now his floor is officially 0. So Dave has bragging rights going forward there. Moggs with the big James 0. Let's see here. Brandon also has another comment in the chat. How are the Rams fully healthy with no injuries and all the draft picks? I don't know. We went from F them picks to like, we'll take everything plus be one of the top teams, if not the top team in the NFC. I put out this tweet earlier today in this poll, and I was asking, are we getting a Detroit Rams NFC championship, or is that a little bit too far-fetched, Colby? What are your thoughts on that?
Detroit and Rams NFC championship.
Or the Rams even in the discussion as far as being in that game?
Yeah, I mean they're the front runner.
Yeah, right, exactly. Okay, so but Detroit, you don't think that would be the other team going, or?
I mean, I think if I think we're gonna go by the chalk right now, probably Eagles, Lions,
Tigers,
Rams,
Bears, oh my.
Seahawks.
That's
Honestly, it's probably those 4. I don't believe in the Bears at all. I don't believe the Packers. 9 can't do it. Commanders stink. Cowboys aren't for real. No Panthers. No one from the South. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a 4-horse race. Rams, Seahawks, Eagles, Lions. Those are your contenders in the NFC.
I'm very disappointed you didn't say the soon-to-be resurgent Commanders, but what are you going to do?
No, because Houston needs them to lose. So I'm anti them. I think they should just tank and lose out.
Yeah, Jorge.
See, okay, so Brandon says Eagles Rams rematch. I don't know about.
I don't think the
man.
Eagles want that. To be honest, I wouldn't want to play the Rams right now.
They
personally.
would get blown out.
Yeah.
No, they're getting hot at the right time.
So, speaking on the Commanders, real quick, what do you call it? Jaden Daniels put out a picture on his Instagram, which people are like retweeting now, and it's like of like this chasm that somebody is like trapped at the bottom, and it's a reference to The Dark Knight Rises, where like Bruce Wayne was injured, he was crippled, he managed to rehabilitate himself and climb out and restore his confidence and became Batman again. And so of course everybody is like jumping on Twitter and they're just like, does this mean he's playing this week? And then is he coming back? Is he in? You get a lot of pushback from people. Like I saw Matthew Berry put out a tweet earlier today. It's like, please don't bring him back. Just save him for the rest of the year. There's no point in bringing him back. And I'm a Commanders fan. I lived through the RG3 era. I understand the fear, the concern, but like for me, it's one of those things where it's like, if he can play. You know what I mean? Like I'm of the belief, like it doesn't hurt him to get more reps. Yes, there's always the possibility of an injury, but if we're going to get scared every single time somebody has a bad injury, but yet can still play and gets cleared by a doctor, medically, what are we doing? Like just let him play. But that's me being, and that says a lot for me, coming from being an RG3 person who was like, Shanahan, how could you have put him out there when he wasn't healthy? But if he's cleared to be healthy, he's cleared to play, I think he should play. But that's just my biased take there. Nothing currently going on in Monday Night Football. Fantasy points. San Francisco has the ball right now. You got Brock Purdy with 0.84 points. That's a very odd number.
How does that happen?
Yeah. McCaffrey and 4.7 points and half PPR scoring. Pierce all leading the way with a whopping 1.1. It's early. It's early, folks, obviously.
It's okay.
But we'll keep you caught up to date with that. Colby will. But let's get into the quarterback discussion here, folks. Let's get into some waiver wire options as you, of course, are here for said information. Let me throw on some graphics there. There we go. Let's talk about some of our favorite waiver wire options, both for like immediate need and dart throws here. Aiden, you want to kick us off here with Kirk Cousins?
Yeah. So hold on. Let me do it.
Kirk Cousins, a former commander.
Okay, I was trying to because the roster percentages too. So Kirk Cousins is widely available pretty much across all platforms. We know that Michael Penix Jr. last week it was announced that he would have season-ending ACL reconstruction / surgery. So Kirk Cousins will be playing for the rest of the season for the Falcons. His top options right now are Darnell Mooney and Kyle Pitts. And assumably, I think Drake London, probably not this week, but he'll probably be back in the next 2 or 3 weeks or so. And that's just in time for the fantasy playoffs. So in such a, like desolate landscape, if you will, for either streaming QB, if you're in a Superflex league or a deep format, I think you can do way worse than Kirk Cousins. Because, yes, he doesn't give you an ounce of mobility anymore after his torn Achilles a couple years ago it was. But I'm not saying he's a prolific passer, but if he can give us like 2 or 3 passing touchdowns a week, like he did last week, with the way that high-end defense plays, and he's just kind of a game manager mode, if you will, when Drake London comes back, then I think he can do way worse than Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I mean, he has the weapons, right? And you look at the running game. That's a bold statement. What I just said. Let me take that back. He has the weapon.
Bijan, I forgot.
Right? He has the weapon in Drake London, right? I'm not putting too much stock on Darnell Mooney and Kyle Pitts.
For now, it's Darnell Mooney.
No, right. But and Kyle Pitts is Kyle Pitts. But when you have all of his weapons healthy, though, with Drake London coming back, and then you have a balanced offense with Bijan, and you have Algier there as well. I mean, it's not like defenses can literally just try and make it one dimensional. Like there is some balance there, so there is the potential for upside. I love that call there, Aiden. Colby, your quarterback, and literally your quarterback is somebody who I was not expecting to be so widely available. Can you speak on CJ Stroud?
Yep, 36% on Yahoo, about 40-ish, 41% on ESPN, 36% on Sleeper. Personnel usage is improving for Houston. Nick Caley's finally, someone has forced him to play rookies, and we're seeing Jaden Higgins get out there, and Christian Kirk was actually effective last week. Still think there needs to be more Jalen Knoll involved. But in the 2 games after the team's bye, but excluding the Denver game since he only played like a quarter before getting concussed, he was averaging 273.5 passing yards, 1.5 passing touchdowns, and about 27.5 rushing yards per game. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't concerned that he's not going to run at least be a little hesitant following the concussion. So you have to see how that kind of plays out. But QB9 in fantasy points per game from weeks 5 through 8, which was the 3 games prior to Denver. And I did not write this on the show sheet. I don't know who did, so someone can write this or own up to it. But it says, could the murmurs of Davis Mills being the greatest quarterback to ever play the game light a fire under CJ Stroud? I don't know who wrote that, but I think it's a valid question.
If that is what, can you imagine if that was the case, where it comes out later in CJ Stroud in the offseason is like, man, let me tell you, that Davis Mills backup put the fire under me, as if I needed even more reasons to be successful there.
What if this? Hear me out. And this is not I didn't say this. Someone else said this. What if this is like a reverse Nick Foles? Wentz got hurt. Nick Foles comes in, lead him to the Super Bowl. What if like Davis Mills coming in lights the fire under CJ Stroud? Houston goes on a Super Bowl run. Again, I didn't say it. I'm asking because people are clamoring out there. People are very high on Davis Mills, and there are people are saying who should be the quarterback in Houston when it should 100% be CJ Stroud. And there's a comment that someone said, "Have you seen Davis Mills throw?" And what I will say to anyone who says Davis Mills should continue starting is go watch the first quarter and a half when Mills, I believe, opened up 1 for 10 or 1 for 9, including what would have been a touchdown to Higgins. He overthrew, I think it was Christian Kirk on a little bit of a corner route. Yet
it was
also at the same time underthrew Dalton Schultz, threw in between the two of them, throw it to either one, and it's completed. And
He missed wide open receivers. All
the
over.
lore around Davis Mills is very nice. It was very nice to get a banged up and struggling Buffalo defense, a Jacksonville team that's whatever, and
very nice.
I believe Tennessee, I think it was. Yeah, because it's a close game. So there's also, let's keep that in mind a little bit. Look how Davis Mills looked against Denver.
They're back in their division race, the Texans too.
All I'm saying though is you look at forget the reverse Nick Foles thing. Let's just talk about the Nick Foles season. Like first week of the playoffs that year, he wasn't exactly great. And then 3 weeks later, he went all Philly special on the Patriots in the Super Bowl. So like we've seen crazier things happen, right? Like what if he does lead the team to the Super Bowl and they do win?
Here's the thing. He doesn't even have to. I mean, it's not going to be Mills. It's going to be Stroud, hopefully this week. It seems like Stroud should be coming back for this week.
Right.
You don't need elite from the offense. You have elite from the defense. You need average offensive play. I need Nick Caley. The one time you want a guy to be average, I need Nick Caley to be average.
Just
being average is totally fine in this instance. Nothing wrong with it.
It's average.
That is it.
Okay. Yep.
That is it. If he can be average, this team has a chance.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm looking at the schedule here, and it looks pretty rough for those Texans. I mean, they got at Indy, at Kansas City, and home against Arizona. Those are. Oh, of course, you're going to say that, right? I don't know. You think that's easy, Colby?
No, but for fantasy managers out there, I will say the fantasy playoffs having Cardinals and Raiders is very, very nice. Especially if Arizona is going to be the pass happiest team in the league with Jacoby Brissett and just say, dude, just drop back there, throw it 45 times. Let's play shootouts. Like that's going to be great. And then another comment from Brandon, which I will co-sign. Nick Caley does suck. I am co-signing that.
Player.
Speaking of average, Sharlene, your quarterback who you got next, when it comes to passing attempts, he was close to average in terms of passing attempts for quarterbacks yesterday. For deep targets, for deep leagues, who's somebody that is interesting for you for Week 13's pickup options?
So if you are in a deep league or you're just plain desperate, Tyrod Taylor is out there pretty much everywhere. He was QB 17 in week 12. So, I mean, you could definitely do worse than Tyrod Taylor. If you have somebody like JJ McCarthy that you were hoping was going to carry your team, you should be maybe looking at Tyrod Taylor instead. I saw an interesting stat. I saw an interesting stat on JJ McCarthy. I think his QB rating for week 12 was 34.2. Now, if a QB was to kneel down for every single play of the game, they would still have a QB rating of like 38 or 39. And JJ McCarthy's QB rating was 34.2. So,
wow.
Tyrod Taylor's looking not so bad.
Yeah, he's literally doing better than 9. I wonder what Tyrod Taylor's alter ego would be. If Tyrod Taylor had an alter ego, what would his ego be? I don't know. We got to make a poll and ask the people in the fantasy community on the Fantasy and Frames Twitter.
You never
account.
hear him speak, so I don't know.
I don't. Wow, this is how horrible. Yeah. See, here's what's horrible is I have a dark sense of humor, and my immediate thought went to like something revolving around lung punctures, but then that's like horrible because that's how he lost his job to Justin Herbert, and that's kind of like, so I shouldn't do that. We shouldn't do that.
You would
put that out of our minds. Of course I would. Love it.
Can I defend JJ McCarthy real quick? I just want to
defend. Defend JJ McCarthy?
Not really defend, but like. Okay. I know he hasn't looked good at all, but out of all these quarterbacks that we're talking about, JJ McCarthy, I mean, I like weeks 14, 15, 16 against Washington, Dallas, and the New York Giants. I mean, that to me, I feel like if he's going to do better than what he's done, those are the 3 weeks that he will do. I mean, Washington, Dallas, New York, come on, guys. That's like that's a gold mine for quarterbacks.
He better do it though, then.
And I know he hasn't done it at all so far, but I don't know. It's just a rough year for him. But if he's going to rebound, those are the 3 games. And if you need a quarterback in the fantasy playoffs into the championship, I don't know. I kind of like JJ McCarthy over these other guys that you guys mentioned with that schedule.
It's hard.
tough.
It's a tough sell. No, but at the same time, you're not wrong. Like schedules mean a lot. Fantasy points allowed means a lot. These are things where you can't go into the play. This is my, my diatribe on my soapbox here talking about this, but like, you got to be very careful as far as like, what's a money or a mirage, like we like to say on Shoot the Gap. Like, what is a money statement that makes a lot of sense? What is a mirage that it looks good, but it's more like fool's gold? And so, like, fantasy points allowed is a good metric to go off of. It's a good way to start, your analysis. And at the end of the day, what is one thing we know about the Dallas Cowboys? You can throw on the Dallas Cowboys. Receivers are going to eat up against the Dallas Cowboys. You know what I mean? So if you have the matchup advantage, even though some things may not be good from a week-to-week basis because there's too much variance, I don't know. I to this day, 2013 to this, is it 2013 or no, it was 2013. To this day, I will always remember. It was I had to win my matchup to make the playoffs in this first ever IDP offense combo league, and it came down to quarterback, and it was Sage Rosenfels of the Vikings on Sunday versus somebody, and he went off. Like he just, the matchup was in his favor. He went off, and then I chose to roll with Drew Brees, and he was on Monday Night Football versus the Legion of Boom of the Seattle Seahawks at their very height, and everything in my body was like, man, I'm not sure. Then everybody would keep telling me, you are an idiot if you go against a future Hall of Famer. He's a future Hall of Famer, man. Why are you going against? Why? Because the Seahawks are allowing like 6 points per game to the quarterback. Like, what? That's kind of like that's a red flag. Literally next to the team name, it's in red. Red means bad. Red means stop. What are you doing? Sage Rosenfeld is really like, I'm an extreme example. I get it, but sometimes you got to go a little bit of extreme, especially if you're down by a lot in your matchups here. That's all I'm saying. Shout out Sage Rosenfeld, something that I guarantee you we will never say again on Fantasy and Frames programming. But that being the case, one time only. You're welcome, Sage. I'll take the deposit on my Venmo later tonight. All right, let's get to the running back position here. Sharlene, why don't you kick us off? Tell us about one of your running backs here this week.
So this week I've got Dylan Sampson. He had 7 rushes for 23 yards, 2 receptions on 3 targets for 59 yards and a touchdown. And because of that touchdown, he led the team in receiving.
Wow.
So
yeah,
I think this, if this is what the team can look like with Shador at quarterback, then I'm feeling pretty good about Dylan Sampson.
No, I mean that makes a lot of sense. And then like you look at the fact that Quinshon Judkins was in the game, out of the game, in the game, out of game. Is he concussed? Is he not concussed? Is he in the protocol? Like, and I think the Sampson thing is one of those things where, again, we're getting close to the playoffs. I'm not a big proponent of like getting your own handcuff. I want to steal somebody else's handcuff in case something goes down. So if you're telling me 2 weeks away from the start of the fantasy playoffs that somebody else's star running back is dealing with concussion, well, that is a little concerning. They may be freaking out just in case something might happen to him down the road. Very violent position to play. You're constantly getting hit. So the likelihood of getting another concussion, so close together, it starts to make a little bit more sense. If Colby has, Quinshon Judkins, I want to make his life miserable. So I'll take, Dylan Sampson as his backup in the waiver wire. So just throwing it out there. Good call. I'm going to go with Devin Neal. We saw Alvin Kamara. I believe it's a PCL sprain. They said this morning it was left the game, obviously, yesterday. And then we saw Devin Neal, 7 targets, 7 attempts, kind of playing that dual threat role like Alvin Kamara has been known to do. And if Kamara misses time, again, another weapon. Am I expecting, RB1 numbers? No. Am I expecting what I was getting from Kamara at least? I think the quarterback upgrade with Tyler Show, I am not calling him Shuck. Don't even get me started. I don't care. It's Old English, Charlene. I don't like it at all. SHUCK, change the spelling, Tyler. Again, somebody that you could potentially get that could do a lot of good for you. Aiden, I know, spoiler alert, and you can check out Aiden's article tomorrow morning over at fantasyandframes.com. You mentioned Devin Neal.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to, why people should be adding him off of waivers this week?
Yeah, even in a bad offense, like you said, he's got the workhorse role now with Elvin Kamara, assumably missing the next 2 weeks at least, maybe even more with the PCL sprain. He's got the pass catching chops out of the backfield. So it's basically just, Taysom Hill for a few trick plays here and there, but it's a very condensed passing tree with Olave, sometimes Juwan Johnson, but Tyler Shuck is a very unstable in terms of his passing numbers, unstable rookie quarterback who went in the second round. So Devin Neal's going to see a lot of those dump offs. I think his value really does come in the passing game. We'll see about the goal line role. We'll see if the Saints are even at the goal line too often going forward. But I do love the call. He's maybe not the top, but one of my top ads of the week.
You had to go and say Shuck. That's disappointing. But
didn't
I like
even think about it.
Sure. Like your analysis, though. I'm going to go here to another player that, with Trey Benson likely returning this week, I want Bam Knight. Kyle, you have Trey Benson? I'm surprised you don't, on your bench somewhere in some league. If you do, guess what? I'm taking your handcuff this week because I want Bam Knight back-to-back weeks, half PPR, double-digit fantasy points. Again, Benson comes back. He looks good, and fantasy managers are like, yay, I got Trey Benson back. He's helping me out. And then all of a sudden he goes down again. Oh, it sucks for you because I got his backup. Yeah. I'm getting way too excited about Bam Knight, a.k.a. Zonovan Knight there. So excuse me, folks. When we look back to week 11, 12.5 fantasy points yesterday, 11.2. Again, these are your flex plays. These are plays, especially if you have multiple flex positions in your league. This is, somebody who is a valuable handcuff for somebody else, which means you go take their handcuff away from them. Next guy I'm going to be talking about is Chris Rodriguez. Colby, you talked about him on the waiver show last week. Aiden, you've written about him last week. You go to Yahoo 16%, ESPN 8.8, Sleeper 29%. Since week 9 is leading the team in the running back position in yards after contact per attempt. If to my point earlier, if Jaden Daniels does come back, that's going to help the running game. That's going to keep the offense more balanced, more honest. And Rodriguez has by far looked as the best running back on the team. I don't know if some of you saw on Twitter who follow the Commanders, various social media platforms. And somebody had a picture of Ja'Cory Cross-Barrett, aka Bill, and the caption was, "Is he RB1 on Washington next year?" And somebody quote tweeted that, and it was like, "He does not make the roster next year." And I was like, "Damn, that's super harsh." But
maybe not.
Yeah, who I think will make the roster, who will continue to be on the roster, that's Chris Rodriguez, and definitely somebody who, for an every down role, much like to what you were saying, Aiden, for Devin Neal, and that's something that's not going to go away. For Washington, he's definitely somebody to hold on to and to grab off of waivers this week. But Aiden, let's get back to you. Who's another running back we should be paying attention to this week?
So I have another one of these backups. Ollie Gordon. He's basically not rostered at all whatsoever across all platforms, all three major platforms, Yahoo, ESPN, Sleeper, what have you. He's under 15% rostered. Yeah, I understand this is another handcuff and speculative ad, if you will, but that's fine. We've all been talking about so far on this show over the last 20 minutes or so that this time of year, it's so important to have handcuffs, whether it's your own handcuffs, whether you steal your opponent's handcuffs, whatever. I understand that Gordon, unfortunately, virtually has no value when H.N.'s on the field, although I will say Dolphins' offense is improving. They started to use more two-back sets with both of them in the field, and Gordon started to get some goal line work. But if anything were to ever happen to H.N., which before his bye week, I think he's fine because they had the bye week, but maybe he re-injures it, whatever. He did have a chest injury. But if something were ever to happen, you have just a lottery ticket that will slip through the cracks, if you will, because he just coming off a bye week, and no one understands the handcuff value that we've been talking about. So I think you would have a lottery ticket turned into fantasy gold, but just how well that system is for running backs.
Love it, love it, love it. Kyle, I'm going to throw you a curveball here, but Ollie Gordon, to what Aiden was saying as far as the kind of resurgence for this Dolphins offense as of week, is he somebody that maybe, and we'll get to this a little bit later, but is he somebody that you're maybe prioritizing a little bit more so than some of the other running backs that we've discussed, given the fact that we have seen more of a established run in production for him this season? Or is he somebody that you're treating more as a handcuff situation only?
How about in between? Out of this list, I kind of like Devin Neal the most.
Okay.
But there could be something there with Ollie Gordon. If say, the Dolphins, you know what, we're going to pull the troops. We're not doing good this year. Let's see what we got out of this kid, Ollie Gordon. Maybe they give him a little bit more of a run. We know that Achan's been prone to, nicking up and getting hurt and all this kind of. Well, let's see what we got out of Ollie Gordon. So he could maybe be something later down the road, down the end of the season kind of stretch for Ollie Gordon. So I do like that. But I mean, that's just speculating, right? So I think out of this list, I feel more comfortable with Devin Neal because they can give him a run as well, like what I just said with the Saints, and he's going to be the starter at least for the next couple of weeks with Kamara banged up.
Yeah, good call. Let's get into a comment here from Moggs. He says, Kareem League winner Hunt. Totally agree. And the only reason why he's not on this list is because he's rostered too highly in most leagues. So he's definitely somebody with Isaiah Pacheco out. We don't know how long that's going to be. At least I don't think he's.
That could get messy though if he does come back.
Yeah, that is very true. It will also get to another messy situation here for the running back situation for Kansas City in a second. But let's get to some deep league darts. Blake Corum. I'm watching Sunday Night Football and I'm listening to Al Michaels, and he's like, man, this Rams offense, every piece of this Rams offense is amazing. It's fantastic. They don't miss a beat. And, Blake Corum at that time was getting a handoff from Matt Stafford near the goal line. And I'm like, oh, damn, Blake Corum's getting a lot of run, getting a few runs here, getting a few rushing attempts. And then you look at the metrics and you're just like, well, hold on. He's not exactly setting the world on fire. I mean, he only had 7 attempts for 24 yards yesterday. Here's the thing, though. He is basically a clone of Kyron Williams. You look at the rushing average. Kyron Williams, yesterday, 3.8 to Blake Corum's 3.4. And this is a game when they were up. Like if if this was a situation where there was like a game script working against them, then that could be one thing when you look at the rushing average for these running backs. But theoretically, since they were up by so much, they should have been getting a lot more work and probably should have been a lot more efficient. But they were only averaging 3.8 and 3.4 yards per carry. So literally, this is a situation where, again, I want to steal, Aiden's, handcuff and Blake Corum and hold on to him. And just because I'm a sore loser, what can I say? So definitely somebody to pick up there. And then getting back to Kansas City's messy situation, Colby, the Texans cut, Damian Pierce a couple days ago. And then all of a sudden, congratulations, Kansas City. He's on your practice squad. Sharlene, in recent memory, have you seen such a messy situation in a running back backfield as messy as it is in Kansas City?
Only one.
Okay.
And that's the Commanders.
All right.
Oh,
Sorry.
Wow, way to go.
Wow.
Off screen. She's like Sharlene. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Stay backstage.
You don't
Wow.
deserve to be on screen.
Wow. But you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
All
You're
that
not
being
wrong.
said,
All that being said, if I want to be objective, you're not technically wrong about that.
Sorry, Jorge.
It happens.
Keeping it real.
Yeah, well, you saw the Chappelle
Keeping it
show
real.
skit when keeping it real goes wrong. Next thing you know, Brian Robinson is the lead running back for the San Francisco 49ers. Not that I'm wishing that on anybody, but I'm just.
Don't put
Moving
that in the
on.
universe.
Moving
Come on
on.
now. Come on now.
I'm sorry, but I keep looking to my phone, and every time I look into my phone for like the update, I see Brian Robinson 3-yard catch, Brian Robinson 3-yard run. I'm just like, he's getting a lot of work more than I was expecting. But I digress.
maybe you should have been.
Speaking of which,
Yeah. But let's go back and re-rank some of these running backs here. Let's start with the first page here. So, Kyle, you mentioned Devin Neal is your guy. number one on the list. Let's go around the frames in reverse order. Colby, who is your number one running back that you'd be wanting to put waiver claim priorities for or fab bids for?
Make it 2 for Devin Neal.
All right. Aiden?
Devin Neal by far.
And Sharlene?
I guess it's just a clean sweep.
All right. Fair enough. Let's get to wide receivers now. This is where things get a little bit more in depth. Let's get to is it Shamir DK?
Yeah.
I think it's Shimray.
Shimray DK? Okay.
I've heard it both.
Okay. Well, I like Shimray. That sounds a lot better. So Sharlene, he's your guy. Why don't you tell us a little bit about him?
Shimray DK. Owned 11.9% on ESPN, 14% on Yahoo, 23% on Sleeper. So he is widely available in probably all of your leagues. 5 receptions on 7 targets for 44 yards and a touchdown. Over the last 3 games, he's averaged 65.5% of routes run, but he had 86% of routes run in week 12. So I feel like he's ticking up. Now we've got no Calvin Ridley, a banged up Io Manor. I mean, who else is there? It's DK season. The only guys he's competing with are the tight ends at this point.
You know, when I thought I'd hear somebody say it's DK season, this is not the one I thought you'd be referencing
Wrong.
in the preseason, to be honest with you. But you know, you're not wrong here. No, definitely love that call. You know, Aiden, let's tag team the next wide receiver here. Let's talk about Greg Dortch, who over on good old Sleeper is rostered in only 19% of leagues. You know, and Aiden, you and I were having this conversation earlier in the day. There is the whole Marvin Harrison could be back this week situation, which could potentially derail Dortch's value as being like the third receiving option for this Arizona Cardinals offense. But if not, you go back the past couple weeks. I mean, in half PPR, wide receiver 11, wide receiver 15 for 15.6 points, 13.8 points, and gets a Buccaneers team whose secondary just got eviscerated by the Rams last night. He then also has a really good Week 16 matchup against Atlanta. I mean, if this Marvin Harrison injury continues to be prolonged, I mean, what are your thoughts on Greg Dortch here?
Yeah, so we're just going to assume Marvin Harrison is out just for the sake of the conversation.
Yeah.
If Greg Dortch gets a lot of easy screen targets, because he is kind of undersized, so if he gets a lot of easy jet sweeps, screen targets, and a lot of those easy slot targets from a high volume passing attack in Jacoby Brissett, who, might I add, has been able to support multiple fantasy viable assets, then I really like the call.
Nice. All right, Kyle, you've been quiet long enough. I'm surprised you're not still bragging about being 5th in Scott Fishbowl, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Again, you know, because it is pretty awesome that you're doing so well. Congratulations again, buddy. Who do you got as a wide receiver option? I'm being serious. I wasn't being sarcastic. What? I mean, I know I'm mostly sarcastic 90% of the time, but I was being serious then. Anyhow, Kyle, who do you got at wide receiver for this week?
This week I have Parker Washington, 20% owned in ESPN, 40% owned in Yahoo, and he is a little bit higher on the end, 56% on Sleeper. But since BTJ has been out with that ankle injury and Jacoby Myers was traded to Jacksonville in week 10, Parker Washington has thrived. You know, the last 3 games, Washington is second in first read share, second in receptions, second in target share as well, and yards. And, you know, I even like Parker Washington once BTJ does come back. Could be as soon as this week. But, he's going to continue. BTJ is going to continue to demand a lot of attention of opposing corners. And he'll be involved. Parker Washington will be involved, you know, despite Jacoby Myers being there because Travis Hunter is out for the season. And Washington could be a sneaky flex play going forward as a deep threat option. And he's also active in special teams on punt returns. So, like next week especially, the Jags get the Titans, right? So if you end up starting Jacksonville's defense and you have Washington and the defense, there's potentially a double up there if he were to score on a punt return. But even besides that, I feel like he's got standalone value as a wide receiver 3 or flex going forward.
Love it, love it, love it. Colby, take us to the Windy City. Who's a wide receiver we should be paying attention to off of waivers this week?
Yeah, I think I've mentioned him a couple of times now, but the takeover has finally happened with Luther Burden. Olamide Zaccheaus is done. You look at the last 3 weeks here, Burden 53% route share, Zaccheaus at 33.9%. Yards per route run, Burden's at 2.03, Zaccheaus is at 0.28. You also look beyond that. I love yards per target over expectation. I can't fully explain the metric if I'm being honest, but I like the sound of it. And when you kind of hear it's like of what is expected, are they doing more or doing less with it?
Yeah.
Burden's at 1.9, Zaccheaus is at negative 5.2.
Wow.
So that tells you all you need to know. But it's finally happened. I said it earlier. I'll say it again. I can't trust the Bears, but I can trust that Luther Burden has finally stepped into that wide receiver 3 role for this team.
Well, I am finally happy that's the case because I have him in our Fantasy and Frames Dynasty League, and I finally was able to start him. And yay, sorry, Rhett Manuel, but I'm crushing you this week. Who's another wide receiver, Colby?
Jaden Higgins, 7+ targets in 4 of his last 5, 3 touchdowns during that span as well. And you actually look, 0.26 targets per route run is right behind Nico at 0.27 in the same department with a team high 6 end zone targets. And I talked about it earlier why I was excited for Jalen Coker tonight, who hasn't really done anything tonight. But 2 of Higgins's games where he had his highest slot route rate have come in the last 3 weeks, and all but 1 of his touchdowns this year have come in the slot. So I like the switch and usage here for him. So I'm very bullish on Higgins the rest of the way.
So I noticed you stumbled there over that acronym, and I got to be honest with you, as somebody who likes to look up the advanced stats in this fantasy football space, there are a lot of like dumb acronyms out there that just don't roll off the tongue. You know which one does roll off the tongue? Which phrasing just already? Alignment separation score. I'll let you all put that together and just that's all you need to know there. Aiden, who is another wide receiver we should be talking about here for waivers this week?
I'm gonna go with John Mechie of the New York Jets. After he scored a touchdown last week, I was thinking, okay, if you're in need of a desperate flex play in a deep league situation, you can add John Mechie and plug and play him. But after scoring another touchdown, his second in each of the last 2 weeks, might I add, like this is a legit, like we got to get serious here. Add for me this week. Noah Garrett Wilson, he's an IR. I doubt he has any motivation to return at all this year. And both A.D. Mitchell and John Mechie have stepped in, and both are playing a very high amount of snaps. But the difference is, Mechie's actually capitalizing and producing on those opportunities, and Mitchell as well, not so much. So I go with John Mechie.
Catching balls.
That's exactly what I thought he was going to say. I thought you were going to be like, sorry, but he actually can catch.
I was trying to put it nicely.
No. That nice. What? No, come
on. Anyway, Mechie just deeper metrics at 25% target share this past week. That was one of the top 20. I think 15th it was from what I recall in the entire league from week 12. So if John Mechie is going to be Tyrod Taylor's preferred option, Sharlene, I think it was you who talked about Tyrod Taylor. If you're a desperate QB play, then I would also go with John Mechie to pair the two, to add off the waiver wire this week.
Agreed.
All right. Let's get into some deep league darts. These acronyms, I gotta work better on this. Sharlene, give us a wide receiver that people should be trying to acquire in deeper leagues this week.
So I've got Isaiah Hodgins on here. I don't know what happened to my roster percentages, but I think it's pretty much close to nothing. So I think we're safe either way. We didn't really know a whole lot about Isaiah Hodgins until a couple weeks ago when Darius Slayton went out. And even with Slayton back this week, he still went 2 for 42 and got a touchdown. He was second in receiving yards only behind Wandale. So, I did put this under deep league darts for a reason. Not a go run out and grab this guy. But I think he's intriguing to me. Again, this is obviously with Jameis in there as well. So I don't know what this is going to look like when Dart comes back. But, the Giants have been struggling with injuries a lot. And I think, there's definitely opportunity here for Hodgins.
It's funny. Well, I guess it's not funny, but like, does Dart come back? At a certain point, that's up for debate there. But and Jameis Winston, we saw yesterday. I feel like the offensive coordinator for the Giants now is like, you know what, Jameis, you're our dude. Like, we don't care what the hell you want to run out as a wide receiver and catch a pass. Fine, go do it. You want to just huck it and chuck it all over the place. Fine, whatever. But you look at Hodgins. No Darius Slayton yesterday, and Hodgins was in terms of the targets down the field with his average up the target 17.3 yards. So like, he is that like huck it, chuck it guy that Jameis Winston would love to look at there. So for in deeper leagues, as we inch closer and closer, and we're looking for high upside plays, this is a very good argument to make here.
And if I could add, he actually has popped before in years past. It was like 2 years ago, I think. Yeah. I had him in a 32 team dynasty. So you want to talk about deep 32 teams? I had Hodgins, and he popped at times. So and then he got released, and then on another team, and now he's back. So yeah, I like the call there, Sharlene, because we have actually seen Hodgins do well. So who's to say he can't do it again? We'll resurgence there.
This seems to be the year of resurgence. So
this John Mechie has had.
Exactly. Well, this is not so much a resurgence. My play here, it's more like who, and then what, and then how, and then oh my god. And so I will go in that exact order. Who is Mitch Tinsley, wide receiver, Cincinnati Bengals. Yahoo 0% rostered, ESPN 0.2, Sleeper 0% roster. What did he do? He went 2 for 29 and got you a touchdown yesterday as soon as T. Higgins left the field. Had an average up the target of 16.7 yards, so he was definitely playing that deep wide receiver role. Again, this is in deep leagues here. I mentioned T. Higgins concussion already been ruled out on Thursday Night Football. Baltimore on the season allows the 9th most fantasy points to the wide receiver position. So if you're in a deep league, if you're like, like a lot of us will be on Thursday, like in food coma mode, and you need something to really wake you up for the night game here, put Mitch Tinsley in your lineup, because I guarantee you're going to be paying attention to this person. If this person scores a touchdown or has some success here from a fantasy perspective, this is the upside of upside plays. Joe Burrow's returning. Like, he needs somebody to throw it to. Although I think Burrow, I say he's returning, but I don't know if it's been made official, but I think I saw a report that he is trending towards returning this Thursday.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
If I can ask, this is along the same lines. So going along the same lines of like a pass catcher step up and place a T. Higgins, would you also add Andre Yoshivas then as well, if you can't get Tinsley?
That's what I was going to say.
Man, that's such a great question. I think because of the wide receiver, honestly, to be honest with you, you look at the chemistry that Burrow has with his receivers, that's really what it comes down to. And then the matchup against Baltimore, you can definitely make a case for Yoshivas as a potential option here. I like Tinsley in this situation just because of the deep target ability, the potential for big chunks and yardage. And we've seen that, he has produced. So it is definitely somebody that people should be paying attention to in deeper leagues. If you could do like one of these fast drafts over at Fast Draft, app, download the app here, use promo code FRAMES if you're a first timer, and you'll get up to $50 matched in your initial credit. Definitely go check that out. Put Mitch Tinsley in your lineup and let me know how that goes this week. I'll do it with you. Kyle, let's get to a wide receiver for you.
Yeah, it's from Aiden's Buffalo Bills, Gabe Davis making his return. ESPN 1% owned, Yahoo 0.5%. Thank you, Jorge, for covering me, because I didn't write that down in there. So
you're welcome.
But it's another guy, that I'm not saying you pick him up and you put him in your lineup right now, but I do think in the deep league, he is somebody that you can at least stash, because like we've said before, this is a guy who has definitely popped before in years past for this Buffalo Bills. He's intriguing, especially with Keon Coleman. Maybe he's still in that doghouse, for showing up late to meetings. And Josh Allen, man, does he need a receiver to step up in the worst way, doesn't he? And we've seen, like I said, we've seen him explode before and pass. There's already a connection there with Josh Allen. They've done this before. And I know Gabe only had like 2 targets last Thursday night against Houston. But honestly, Allen just didn't have time in the pocket to look off of his first read. I mean, credit to the Texans. I mean, they sacked him, 8 times in that game?
9,
Colby?
actually.
9? Yeah. So, I mean, he had no time back there. So, yeah, I think in a deep league, you can stash Gabe Davis. Don't start him right away, but there could be something there if he does pop.
He has disappointed before too, though. So
sure, he is like the typical boom or bust type receiver. But man, if you got him in for those booms, that could be really nice down the stretch.
Love it. All right, let's go back to our main list here for wide receivers. And Sharlene, if you had to pick a wide receiver, well, you do have to pick. I guess that's the whole point of this exercise. Out of all the wide receivers here listed, who would be the one people should be putting, in your opinion, as the number 1 waiver claim or bid?
Number 1 waiver claim? I think I got to go with Jaden Higgins here. He's been the one to show the most consistency lately, and it's trending up. I like Jaden Higgins here. I think if you had to choose between any of these guys, that's my guy.
Aiden, what about you?
I'll go Jaden Higgins too, but if someone already added him because it's been trending up and he's not available, then Trimray DK isn't far behind.
Colby? Never mind. I don't have to ask you. I know exactly which one you're going to go.
Forget
it. Kyle?
And I have to be honest, even though I am a Texan hater, it's Higgins. It is. That's the correct answer.
We are unanimous. Got to love it. Colby, can you give us a little update on Monday Night Football? What the heck is going on? Is there anything going on?
Christian McCaffrey touching the ball every other play. When he doesn't touch it, bad things have happened. Brock Purdy's from 3 interceptions now.
Whoa.
3? I have him starting in a couple.
Oh, I missed that.
Yep, he is. Well, all right. Well, here, I'll tell you this way then. He's 13 for 15 on the night, with 3 of them going to Carolina. So if that makes you feel better in terms of that.
Not really.
Nothing
Bryce Young also threw an interception.
A bad one, too.
This
in
is
the
great.
Right in the end zone.
Horrible interception.
This is...
So 0-0 still, or?
No, it's 7. It's 7-0. Jennings got a touchdown. I think it was still in the first quarter.
See, Kyle, why couldn't you be starting these players in Scott Fishbowl and giving the rest of us a chance this week? Why did you have to have Jahmyr Gibbs and JSN? Good Lord.
Luckily, I am completely done. I have nobody in tonight's game.
Oh, do you? Okay, well, that's good. That at least gives us...
You can pass me if things go right, like George Kittle.
George Kittle for 120. Go Jorge. Yeah.
Go Jorge.
Yeah. All right, let's get to waiver wire options here. Colby, who you got as waiver wire option top ad for this week?
It's Brenton Strange. Came off IR, looked great. 65.7% route share, 12 ADOT, 16.7% target share, over 4 yards per route run, and nearly a third of his routes came from the slot. We like to see that. So if Brian Thomas is going to continue to miss time, there's obviously a rapport with Trevor Lawrence. So Brenton Strange is the guy I'm looking at.
Very nice. Aiden, you got somebody for us?
Yeah, at tight end, I have Theo Johnson of the New York Giants. Pay close attention to your platform here, because on both Yahoo and ESPN, Theo Johnson is a little over 50% rostered, but on Sleeper, he's still a little under 50% rostered either way. No matter if it's been Russell Wilson in the first 2 weeks of the season, or Jackson Dart, or Jameis Winston, they're lining up Theo Johnson all over, mainly in the slot because of his athleticism, and he is getting the targets. It's a very condensed target tree with Theo and Wan'Dale Robinson. And if Jameis Winston stays in the game, to your point, you were talking about earlier, Jorge, that's great. That just means more downfield usage for Theo Johnson. So I really like this as a premier tight end stream, or just to roster the rest of the way, just because the condensed target tree in New York.
Roger. All right. For those who are playing in deeper leagues, Colby, let's go back to you here. What are a couple tight ends that you are excited for people to get on waivers this week?
I wouldn't say excited, if I'm being honest, but
excited for.
I mean, in deeper formats, you could do worse than Taysom Hill. I mean, we saw Alvin Kamara get hurt in the first quarter, and second, third, and fourth quarter, it was Taysom Hill, of course, who led the team in carries with 8, although it was under 2 yards per carry. And I don't know what he's got on that darn team, but there's always a Taysom Hill game at some point. And you go back to 2023 when Kamara missed 4 games, Hill averaged 5.5 carries, 35.5 rushing yards, and 2 targets per game. I mean, you never know when it's going to happen, but there's always a Taysom Hill game at some point, and they don't need a reason to play him. but now they might end up needing him. So I guess you could do worse than Taysom Hill.
Hope for a touchdown.
Didn't they give him like some like insane like $90 million deal or some like crazy $1 million deal a few seasons ago that nobody's like talking about? You remember that, Aiden, right? Am I just imagining?
Yeah, it was like quarterback money, and he's like a tight end hybrid thing.
So I think that's why they have to use him. It's like, well, we paid you like $1 bazillion because even though we can't because we're the Saints, we're still going to find a way to do it anyhow. So we have to put you in the game. Colby, got another tight end for us?
I do. Deep release. Look at Gunnar Helm, 40+% route share the last 2 weeks since the team's bye. And Chigakonko is a free agent after the season. Sorry, Kyle, but if Tennessee is already looking to next season, which they have been for weeks at this point, why not lean in to the young guys? You got to figure out who can stay and grow with Cam Ward or whomever the next quarterback they draft in a year or two ends up being, if it's not him. So why not look to grow with the youngsters there? We saw Xavier Restrepo get some action last week. Lean youth, especially if they know they're not going to bring back a Okonkwo. Lean into Gunnar Helm. Try to see what you have with, I believe he was a 4th-round pick. Try to figure out what you got with him if you have anything at the tight end spot.
Yeah, and I was kind of hopeful for Chig this year, and didn't really happen. And Gunnar Helm's really surprised me. So, yeah, like you said, Colby, I totally back that up 100%. That's a good call there because they could definitely see what they get out of him for sure.
Very nice. We got Jamie in the chat says, "Hey everyone, what's going on, Jamie? Welcome to the show." All right, let's go here and let's talk about our priority ads out of all the positions we've talked about today, folks. And of course, if you are just tuning in late, you can come back over to our YouTube channel and watch the show. This will be in podcast form and sent out tomorrow morning wherever you listen to podcasts. And of course, you can reach out to each and every one of us here on screen on Twitter. But let's get to our favorite ads of the week, our priority ads, number 1 ads per person. Aiden, let's start with you. Who is your priority ad of the week?
So I put Chimere DK on the sheet, but I'm actually going to change and go Jaden Higgins because I didn't realize he was available as he was. So just because of his target share steadily creeped up over the last few weeks, he's actually capitalized it with touchdowns now. I will go Jaden Higgins.
So basically what you're saying is you lost a bet to Colby on Thursday Night Football, and now you're paying up and picking a Texan. Okay, cool. Got it. And I know
if that's what satisfies you then.
Yeah, it does. It does. It makes me giggle. It makes me laugh. So we're going to go with that one. Colby, I don't even know what to do with you right now, but let's just ask you anyhow. Who is your priority ad of the week out of all these people?
Definitely a lot of good names on the sheet here.
He's just pandering.
I'm stuck between CJ Stroud and Jaden Higgins. I'll go Jaden Higgins.
Okay. Well, shocking a Texan. That makes some sense.
Yeah.
Let's go here. Sharlene, you're up. Who is your priority ad out of everybody we talked about today for week 13?
I'm going with Devin Neal because this late in the season, if you can get your hands on an RB1 for a team, you go and get yourself an RB1 for that team.
100% love it. Kyle, can you round us out here? Who is your priority ad for week 13?
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of pull an Aiden and reverse out of what I had, and I'm gonna go with Sharlene. I'm gonna go with Devin Neal as well. He's gonna get the start for the next 2 weeks or so, and he's like what she said, get an RB, get your RB if you need one. They're important, so yeah, and who knows, maybe they'll run Devin Neal to the ground to the end of the season. You never know.
Yeah, that's a nice way of thinking about a player. We're gonna basically run your legs off, but that's nice.
You better go out there and play.
Yeah, that's great. But for fantasy, I hope it does happen. So that makes a lot of sense there. Folks, that's going to wrap us up here for the Waiver Wire Watch Party for week 13. For those of you who love IDP fantasy football, the godfather of IDP, Gary Davenport, has his Waiver Wire article coming out tomorrow morning. Aiden, as I mentioned earlier in the show, you have your Waiver Wire article coming out tomorrow morning. You can check them all out at fantasyandframes.com. Before we get out of here, let's go around the frames. So give any last shout out messages, advice, yada, yada, whatever you want. The mic is yours, literally. Let's start with Kyle. Anything you want to say to the viewers before we sign off?
No, just catch me every Wednesday night on Fourth and Frames on the Fourth and Frames channel every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll go over the smash and pass plays, and that's it. Short and sweet, in and out. Boom.
There we go. Colby, what about yourself?
Follow me on X at Colby R. Conway and check out all the great content here at Fantasy and Frames.
Aiden, what you got?
Yeah, you already mentioned it, the waiver article that will be up tomorrow morning on the site. A lot of crucial names, everybody, this week, as we're literally on the doorstep and precipice of the fantasy playoffs over the next couple weeks. And of course, for additional analysis and some other quick hit stuff, you can follow me on Twitter/X at AWeingartner13.
And Sharlene?
I just want to say good luck to everybody that is in the playoffs or knocking on the playoffs doors. Hopefully we can help you get that last push into the playoffs. And you can find me on Twitter at Chalbella1981.
Very nice. And you can find me at Jorge B. Edwards. Folks, thank you very much for tuning in. I know every single week you all do a great job of listening and watching and participating in the chat. We really appreciate you here on the Waiver Wire Watch Party. Stacy Perez will be back next week. And of course, for those who are in the States, wishing all of you all a happy holiday, happy Thanksgiving, safe shopping on Friday and Saturday. Hope your internet bills are taken care of, because I'm sure Amazon is going to be streamed on a lot of your devices, as is going to be in this household. I can tell you that much for sure, because I hate going out places. But that's all I got for you. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for watching, listening. Check out our content at Fantasy and Frames, our full slate of shows Wednesdays, and then we got the Fantasy and Frames pregame show on Sundays. So for Colby, for Kyle, for Sharlene, for Aiden, I'm Jorge. We will see you all next time.